People won't believe it. So, time I got my device, Skinner hung up, and you called. This has been a repeated pattern that I've been trying to tell YouTube. You there?
Yeah, so Ms. Clark, I don't believe I've spoken to you before.
Oh, I've been trying to express to YouTube that I get calls to interrupt other calls. Immediately when I answered your call and I told Skinner to hang up from another station, Skinner immediately hung up. You created an avenue for him to hang up and deprive me of information on a case, and him calling me back for follow up. So you
Okay,
strategically replaced this call was strategically placed to interrupt another call that I've been trying to inform YouTube this repeatedly happens. So when I get
okay,
these calls, then the other party on the other line is rescued and then they hang up. No one would ever believe that repeatedly happens unless they see it. So nonetheless, yes, I wanted to report Ortiz, and Skinner was just doing the same thing Ortiz did for making a false report. And Skinner and Dallas did the same thing.
okay. Ms. Clark, I am not here to interrupt anything that you had going on or intercept any of your calls or anything. I was here as our dispatch told us that you needed some help with something, okay? So if you would like to kind of inform me about what's going on and let me know how I can help you.
Yes, I would like to report a false report, make a report and get a report number of false reports that jeopardize my safety.
Okay, and what exactly is the nature of the false report?
Okay, so for years I've been having people blatantly lie to cut off my food supply. So I have a YouTube channel and I've documented in video diaries multiple different locations that I live in blacklist me from food. And if I can't, everyone has to eat to live. And when they strategically blacklist me from food, that threatens my safety and malice. So a lot of times it also has blacklisted me from hotel stays and shelters on pathological blatant lies. So what I'm reporting is that I have relocated to multiple different locations, and the pathological lies are still following me. And so I was at Target, and Josh made a false report stating that I was being problematic and he didn't intimidate me, which is in fact was a blatantly lie. Josh demanded to follow me around Target, and he punished me for my inability to get by. In fact, before Josh even did that, I told YouTube that they people scam to keep me from purchases. It's happened years. So for my safety, I had to hurry up and leave to make these purchases. Because when my user is upset, I can't make purchases. It's happened years. So I told YouTube that I have to hurry up and leave for my safety. It's like I'm fighting for my life to get these items before someone scams to keep me from purchasing them. Sure enough, Josh came in and swooped up from nowhere and demanded that I leave. And I was gathering my items and was my backpack and other items, and he was demanding, bullying me and mistreating me for trying to gather them. I said all I was trying to do was just informing these people I can't get by. Josh didn't care and lied to the police. And because of that lie, I got a criminal trespass here from Target.
And who is Josh?
Josh is someone from Target that blatantly lied on me, and it's been happening years. I'm blacklisted from multiple different locations. I can't live in them because people pathologically lie to keep me from being there.
Okay, so you're saying you've received criminal trespass warnings at different locations
and corruption and malice. Yes.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
for example, look, there's a CPS case going. CPS reports multiple that came up missing, and
Okay.
they would blacklist me and give me criminal trespasses from all CPSs. They gave me a criminal trespass from the Northern District Court. I was given a criminal trespass at Tyler Police Department. I was given criminal trespasses at multiple district attorneys trying to get protection orders. So you can see how critical it is for whatever is following me, slandering me, is obstructing justice and violating me and not controlling my life to the degree of where I can't progress. Because each avenue I take, I've gotten multiple different criminal trespasses from domestic violence organizations. So it's putting my safety at risk, these pathological lies. In fact, I don't have access to a child now from pathological lies. And that's damaging on her. She's had meltdowns. I've had meltdowns. She's been in tears, and it's pain and suffering that and repeatedly, my family's just really not being heard. And then she's been hit multiple different times. And for some reason, the police department and CPS has bullied me for trying to protect my child. And each time she makes an outcry, she's punished for it. And it's actually the punishments have been violent in her location. My other his child has been subjected to punishment too, and that was violent. He's been hit with cars and different avenues to control him, not just one but plural. And one time, I actually it should be documented because I had to take him to Mesquite Hospital. And then he had seizures a little bit after that, and that was mysterious. So the second time he was hit, he didn't want me to pursue law enforcement or any help. He said he was fine, he was limping and was bleeding. So I called the police. They can't find the report, and said was bullying me about reporting that my son was hit with a car, and said it was no big deal. So I said, "What are you talking about? My family knew before me that it was something going on. They've been behaving odd for a long time." But nonetheless, so I said, "No, take this report," and I threatened to call the police on the police. Because it's serious when someone deliberately hit my child with a car and the police department covered for it and can't find the report today. So
So,
these pathological lies repeatedly puts my safety at risk and my family's safety at risk.
So, Ms. Clark, I'm here to help you, okay? So I need to take one issue at a time. So let's start with, so we're saying that you believe you've been issued the criminal trespass warnings
It's
out
not
of
that I
time.
believe. A lot of people say that. I've had multiple different. They said that I believe just the other day, and then someone just said I believe just today, and I said that's a repeated pattern. Because now when
Okay,
I'm reporting abuse, that it's not a typical response. It's you believe. It's like it's
okay,
pre-orchestrated and like prearranged scripts. I've never
okay,
told anyone that was reporting abuse to me that I'm sorry you believe that's abuse. I've never said to someone that reported that someone police assaulted them and took their freedom that I'm sorry you believe that's abuse. That's peculiar to me. So
okay.
it's
Got
like
it.
someone is pre-orchestrating and pre-arranging scripts to conceal crimes in my locations. So we don't have to dispute that I believe it's facts. But I'm not quite certain on why law enforcement has been denied close to almost 400 and something times since I've been targeted.
So before we move on to the next issue, okay? While I can't necessarily just immediately go in and remove your criminal trespass warning. So I don't want to make you confused and make you think that I can just lift the criminal trespass warnings, okay? Because I'm just a police officer. That requires more collaboration by businesses and things like that to lift any trespass warnings. So I'm not saying that they're not valid. However, I am going to document that they, are being issued in malice, and that you believe, excuse me, that anytime you try and get any merchandise or any food or anything that you need for sustainment, that you're being issued criminal trespass warnings. What I want to give you is the number, like you requested,
I'm not
where
done. There's
that.
been another false report that I like to report.
No, 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 not.
I'm not finished. I'm not there. I'm still doing a report. We're not done. I have another false report. That's just one of the
Yeah,
false reports.
I understand, but it's going to be under the same number, okay?
But I
I'm
haven't
just.
made the other report yet.
I understand, but I want to give you the number
I
so
don't
A,
want to
I.
be a people police tamper with evidence. I don't want to get a number before I finish making the report. I think that that's misconduct. I like to finish the report and then get the number.
Okay, so we can do that. Just to clarify, though, do I have that beginning portion correct? Is that we're
Yes,
being.
I'm being issued criminal trespasses to railroad my life from vital locations, and it's deliberately created to keep me from life sustaining situations like food,
Okay,
water, and things of that sort of malice cases that I have. If I issued a criminal trespass, I can't have access to the court to get anything resolved on my case.
okay,
That's obstructing justice to give me a criminal trespass where I have an active case. And then the
uh,
court, because I couldn't get there, closed the case against my abuser. I couldn't
okay.
get in.
Understood. So what is the next portion of your report?
So I think I reported, I'm not quite certain, but I believe that I reported something to Ortiz. And he made a false report to cover for me not
I'm
being.
sorry. Who is RT? You have to catch me up. Who is
He
RT?
says he's a sergeant, badge number 7862.
786 with Victoria.
He claims he is. I get spoof calls. People have claimed they were CPS workers and really weren't, and were harassing me and terrorizing me. He claims he was Sergeant Ortiz. Do you have a Sergeant Ortiz?
Are you saying the letters RT or Ortiz?
Ortiz.
Okay. Okay. So and continue. I'm sorry.
Do you have a Sergeant Ortiz?
Yes, we do have a Sergeant Ortiz. I misheard you. I thought you were saying RT.
Okay, 7862 is the badge number.
Yes, ma'am.
So repeatedly over and over, multiple different times a day. In emergencies, my phone would shut off, all kind of different things, and it jeopardizes my safety. Repeated inability to do things. I'm monetized on YouTube. Windows closed. My data's cut off on a whim. Texts are cut off on a whim. Certain people I don't get texts from. Multiple different apps are manipulated. I've been defrauded out of funds. I know that someone's remotely controlling my device, and I have emails stating that we hack all your accounts. Everything that you do is hacked. So nonetheless, I tried to report this, and that my Facebook page altered, and my profile picture changed multiple different times, and it was not someone else did it. Into a cow child that was flipping and giving someone the bird, the middle finger. And I tried to report it to another officer, and they made a false report to cover for it and said I was mentally ill, and then said my son's name and malice from nowhere, and asked me about his number to try to have me live in fear that they would do something to my son for trying to report that someone altered my profile picture on Facebook. Well, the problem of it is, two Facebook pages I blocked out of right now, I had decades, and I have two emails that I'm blocked out of and control that I've had decades. So it's railroading my life. I built up this following on Facebook, and each time I do that, I'm blocked out of pages. Now I send all these countless friend requests, and it's bizarre, and only control people respond. And then I've asked people in the past, and they never got messages that I sent them, and they never got the friend request. So something is going on, but I'm not quite certain why the police department would demand that I live like this. So nonetheless, so I tried to report the profile picture that was obviously changed. The police department says that I was talking to someone that wasn't there on Facebook. Well, the problem of it is, you shouldn't have been on my Facebook page before I called you to know about it. Just like Skinner knew about the false arrest that I was on the phone with you prior in Arlington. I've stated that the police department is stalking me, and I'm just trying to prove it. So, nonetheless, I don't want to be punished for people not abiding by the law and blaming me for their crimes. So, I would like to report that my abuser is hacking my device, and police have made false reports like Ortiz today, badge number 7862. He demanded, tried to frame me with mental illness and slander me to cover for my devices being hacked, which is already uploaded to YouTube. Officers has claimed that they have access to the channel, yet will not do anything for the countless crimes they see being committed on it.
Okay. I have that information down.
But here's the problem, that they've had the information down 400 and something times, but I have never had a call from a legitimate investigator. The only time I've had a call from an investigator is one time when it was aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, and they were basically covering for it. And I tried to supplement the report with other assaults and attacks, and they never called me back. And then it took years. It took 7 or 8 months before they even investigated it then. And the only reason why they investigated it then, because it was a witness that called the police when she saw the video. I showed her my YouTube channel, and she called the police on her own. She did her. It's mandatory reporting. Now I'm being surrounded by people that commit the crime and will refuse to do their mandatory reporting. I've seen the police department station when I was in hospitals for enforcing crimes on civilians, and the camera would see it too.
Okay. Ms. Clark, so I'm going to do a couple things to help you at this point, okay? First off, the reports of the incidents, or the report that's going to contain the incidents that you just disclosed to me, I'm going to get you that number like you wanted, okay? Where that information, which is the most that I personally am authorized to do at this point, okay, is to document what you told me and give you that number, and I'm gonna be your voice, okay? From that point forward, like I said, I don't want you to end up, like you said, being punished for any other malice or anything that's going on. So I don't want you to think that those criminal trespass warnings are going to be lifted. But
I know that it wasn't. I know that it won't, because I know that the person that's paying people to do it wants to ensure that he gets his money's worth. I know that's an impossibility when he's running the police department. He's not going to shell out funds for you guys to lift a criminal trespass that he paid countless funds for you to do. I know that's an impossibility. I'm just wondering, how many uploads will it be before you guys get your charges? I already know that it's not going to happen. It hasn't happened in all these other locations, which made me move here just to experience the same thing over and over. So if it hasn't, I wouldn't pay to shell out all these funds to control the police and have them lift a criminal trespass. I would want to be ensured that you're going to keep that If I'm paying you, you need to ensure me that it will not be lifted. It won't, sir, until people get their charges. I can promise you it won't, because it hasn't been all these other times.
Okay, but in order to get to that point, right, we have to start somewhere, and that's with me hearing what you have to say and reporting it on my end. Now, the second option that we have is you're saying that there's numerous occasions on which you've had these issues of your Facebook profile being tampered with, your social media sites getting hacked, having to start over and restart with your followers and friend requests and things like that. I understand that that's frustrating. Okay, so if we are if we are the victim of some sort of online fraud or scamming, we do have a system that you can report that to, and you can essentially write your report on your own.
No, that's not a possibility because I've been doing reports online years and none of them has ever
Have,
populated. It's never.
have you
I'm
tried
just.
to
That's not a
report?
possibility that I'm reporting, and we're really deflecting on the fact that my device is hacked, and I've been making reports online for years, and they have never serviced. No one can find them. In fact, I was on a computer by the bridge shelter at the library, and the police. I was reporting police, and they came to try to interrupt me being on the computer, and until I started recording them, then they hurried up and left. Well, I know they were there for me because at City Square, when I was reporting crimes on the computer glitched and security came and threatened to ban me and give me a criminal trespass because I reported that these computers were being hacked and that she knew that I was reporting police and demanded that, I take it and not report it or have to leave. So it's not an isolated incident because um, Robert at Oxford Street, when I was using their computers, I got on the FBI page and was banned from the computer lab there. And then I asked Oxford Street Robert security why he would feel deemed that it necessary for me to ban me for being on a law enforcement site. When he thought about his behavior, the location that I got terrorized from, and put out property for talking to people, I was the elephant in the room, and the shelter demanded that I go to my bunk and not talk to anyone when the government had violated me, and they were doing the same thing on the streets. Police would come from nowhere and tell me not to talk to people. And people knew to stay away from me because I was getting terrorized by the police department. So Robert, the shelter let me sit and marinate in that if I talked to anyone, ostracizing and isolating me, that I would get put out. And indeed, a man was talking to me one day, and then they put me out in the snow for responding to the man. The man was happy go lucky and did not have any consequences for talking to me, but they put me out in the snow for talking to a man at the shelter. They said under no circumstances can I talk to any man. They wouldn't let me put on makeup either. One day I tried to outsmart them, and get up at 3 a.m. I said no one has the right to demand that I look the way that I have to look now, and demand that I look this way or get put out. So I was rebellious. Got up at 3 a.m., put on makeup, and had my face all jazzed up with night gear on. And then I said that I was going to go ahead and put on my clothes. Miss Jackson came in, demanded that I leave with my night gear on in the cold, and I wasn't even prepared because I had night clothes on that was not um, appropriate for being outside in the cold. She threw my items at me, and my phone came up missing, and nothing happened. I was just putting on makeup. They gave me the realization that that would be my punishment for putting on makeup, so I couldn't put on makeup there. I tried to do it on my bunk since they blacklisted me from the bathroom. This is how I had to live. So then they scammed that they were putting out everybody early, but I was the only person that they came to, and they said that if you don't leave right now, we're going to ban you for a certain amount of days. But if you leave right now, there will be no problems. This is how I had to live. So everyone else was bad. It was 15 minutes before time, and I was the only one that they demanded to leave. And in all my environments, I'm in the elephant in the room, and they're pathologically lying to keep me from even all the services, even petty services that other parties get. A lot of places were so petty they lied about clothes and bus passes.
Miss Clark, so outside of me documenting what's going on and making your report, is there something that I can do for you at the moment to help with your situation, or is there something that you're needing? You know,
Well, I think that the relevancy of me reporting that is, I think that it jeopardizes my safety if my environments enforce my abuse. And I have to repeatedly be the elephant in the room, and people repeatedly scam to keep me violated and in my crisis. So
okay.
people carefully orchestrate their words, and they just really don't have my best interest at heart. I guess that's what I'm trying to report. I would like someone that's not prearranged and controlled to leave me in abuse. And I just really haven't found it. The only thing that I've came in contact with are people manipulating things and trying to have the appearance that they're abiding by the law when really they don't have my best interest at heart. Which I would perceive that that's why it's been impossible for me to flee if it's already prearranged that I don't, which isn't fair to me or legal. So I'm not
Right.
quite certain. What was your position again?
I'm a police officer. I'm a patrol officer. My last name is Oliver, and my badge number is 8579.
So if, I do 400, 500, 1,000 reports, and maybe this may go until I'm elderly, I just really don't see the relevancy of doing all these reports and I'm being denied investigation for them. And then
So,
slandered and pathological lies to as an alibi on why 400 or 500 times I'm not getting law enforcement or investigation. How would I combat that police are repeatedly racking up criminal charges but aren't being held accountable? Their con is would not have criminal charges is that some kind of way it's impossible for you to get investigation 500, 400 times.
right. So, and I'm just talking to you as a patrol officer, okay, as a person.
I just don't
I
think I think that we're just reflecting on the fact that there's mandatory reporting or to keep you from getting criminal charges. So
uh,
if you are sending a report in that don't get investigated, you have an obligation to report that to someone to not get a charge yourself if you authentically have a desire to help me.
that's correct. If I were to submit a report and the report was terminated or the investigation was terminated simply on the basis of who you are and uh, to work towards some malice towards you, then yes, that is correct. That's a huge issue as far as the integrity of the police department goes. Okay,
And there's
but
evidence of that
but
because if I'm reporting to you 400 and something times, officers that took my reports tampered
so
with evidence and made it impossible for me to get investigation, that is
well
indeed what I'm reporting to you. And you not
well
reporting that to anyone is indeed criminal. So
that that
if you're committing a crime and won't properly do the report, there's no way that I can combat you guys' criminal activity. So I'm reporting to you that it is indeed what's happening. Police are doing 400 and something times, which is outrageous. Not only just we're not talking about 5, 10. We're speaking of 400 and something times that they committed crimes and deprived me of investigation. That is what I'm asking you to do a report of. And if you don't properly do the report, you would also be an accomplice to that.
that if that is what you're reporting, Ms. Clark, I'm about to issue you the report number. I'm going to document everything that you told me. Okay, and I mean I know that you've likely been told this several times. I do have your best interest as a citizen of
Well,
Victoria.
if then it'll be
I
investigated, right?
What's that?
Will it be investigated? Because each time I'm asking about investigation, people are hanging up and scams to keep me from investigation.
So I am going to write a report. I am going to pass it to my supervisors who will then approve it, and then they will send it forward to the correct departments within the Victoria Police Department, okay? What happens to the case at that point, it is up to investigators. However, I will say that the Victoria Police Department has checks and balances, okay? So if there were some overt act uh, to maliciously dampen or tamper with your investigation, then that is an issue, okay, and it will come to light. But at this point, what I can do, what action that I can take for you, is to document what you told me, give you that report number, and then make sure that it passes through, which I get notified when it gets approved by my sergeants, and then gets handed forward to the investigations department. Okay, so that's what I can do for you at this moment, and that's what I'm here to do for you. Okay,
Okay, well, I would like to report that 400 and something times police have scammed that is the investigators. It's the investigators that didn't pick it up. It's the investigators that didn't pick up a hit and run. It's the investigators that didn't pick up the assault with a deadly weapon that's recorded. It's the investigators didn't pull up the fact that you were attacked and assaulted and your phone was stolen. It was the investigators' fault. It's the investigators' fault that someone deliberately hit you with a car. It's their fault. It's the investigators' fault that 40 something times no one did anything about interference with child custody crimes. It's their fault. It's the investigators' fault that no one took investigated child abuse. It's their fault. It's their fault that you were assaulted 3 times in 10 hours. It's the investigators' fault on camera footage. It's their fault. It's their fault that no one investigated some of you almost getting ran over for repeated games using transit. It's their fault. It's their fault that the bus driver slammed my hand in the door, had me bleeding. It's their fault that wasn't picked up. It's their fault that no one picked up a bus driver slamming their foot on the brakes, causing me to fall. It's their fault. In addition to that, slamming their foot on the brakes, having me fall into someone's lap. That's their fault. For 10 years plus, it's the investigator's fault. But it appears that it's the people taking the reports, that they're taking the reports in malice to make push through, that they're never investigated 400 and something times. As you can see, if there's hit and runs of a child, it's serious. It's also been a murder. And I don't know what was going on with that. Was someone hit 2 times in one night? Some of my friend, the car sped up like it was going to hit my friend, and the cars did it multiple different times to me. So me and my son was intentionally hit with a car. So if something has my family spooked, pathologically lying on me. So something happened. So I'm not quite certain the inability for 400 and something times that there's a con that these serious events just cannot be pushed through for investigation. And you want to YouTube to believe that you're not racking up charges. I don't think anyone would believe that even a child can see past the insanity. So I don't know. Are you saying that you have to see if you'll investigate all this, even though it's a crime for you not to?
Okay. So, Miss Clark, I'm not saying that I will see if it's investigated. Okay, I'm saying that I am not the party responsible for investigating. Okay, I'm responsible for taking your report as I have.
Well, we've already addressed that by you saying that you'll see and you're not making sure a legitimate report is investigated. We've already communicated got that communication that if that didn't happen, it was a crime. So I'm not quite sure why there's the disconnect. If you know it's a crime for it to not be investigated, how can your report? How can you be wishy washy on whether it's going to be investigated, even if you're aware that it not being investigated is indeed a crime?
No, Miss Clark, I'm not saying that it may or may not be investigated. Somebody will be reading this report who has investigative authorities, okay? And they will take the appropriate action given what your report contains.
Well, here's the thing. I'm reporting that the investigation I've been defrauded out of investigation, I guess you can say, in corruption, 300 or 400 and something times, which is what I'm reporting to you. So there's
Okay,
a very high likelihood
uh,
that it won't be investigated as it has not 300 and something times. I feel that the best predictor of future behavior is past behavior. And if no one has held you accountable for your past insanity, I don't see any need for you guys to stop. If someone repeatedly keeps robbing a bank and getting away with it, they don't stop until they get caught. That's a truth. That's typically how criminal activity works. Some people are very arrogant and very confident, and they will not stop their criminal actions until someone stops them for them. That's typically how criminal empires work.
okay. Well, like I've told you from square one, okay? I'm here to take your information and be your voice, so that way,
I'm
you know,
really not getting clarity because for 400 and something times, people have carefully articulated their words. The simple thing is, will it be investigated? Will someone, a detective, call me to investigate all these crimes I'm reporting to you? Because not doing so is a crime.
I cannot promise you that a detective is going to contact you,
Well,
but
it's
I can.
fruitless to make all these reports. I can make 1,000, I can make
Hold on,
2,000,
Miss Clark.
5,000, 10,000. Like I told the Frank Crowley Courts Building or Lou Sterrick too. I said, are you going to cover for 100 false arrests, 200, 300, 5,000? How many false arrests will be the straw that breaks the camel's back? That was it. So they had to blacklist me and give me criminal trespasses because they couldn't set up any more false arrests. So once they reached the maximum of false arrests that they were allowed, they have to push me out of the environment by all these criminal trespasses and forcing me to a new location that's not afraid to break up charges and give me false arrests there. This is how they do it. Blacklist me from one location to another location that will do the false arrest. If people are scared and don't want to violate me in one environment, they'll put me out of the environment and then railroad me to go to another place that's willing to violate me there. No, peace is not allowed. It's not an option. If they treat you right, we'll remove you from that environment by law enforcement. And I don't know how to report that someone threatened to kill me, and you guys covered for it. Is boasting about a rape. You covered for that. Hacking my device, hidden runs, and you always have an alibi on why you're racking up felonies and why you're being accessory to crimes. There's always an excuse to not go to prison. But yet the FBI has done nothing to put you guys under control all these years. I don't, like I said, I don't, do you believe yourself? Do you really
Well,
believe that anyone, as being in law enforcement, do you believe anyone believes your story? Because
yes, I do.
I mean, I think a lot of criminals think that you don't commit the crime if you don't think you'll get away with it.
Okay, Ms. Clark, like I told you, I'm going to take what action I can to give you the assistance that you need and do what you want done. Okay, I have your report number if you're ready to write that down.
Okay.
Okay,
What is it?
it is 2025-00-4374.
Okay, and what is this report regarding? What are you putting down? Because a lot of the reports I made, it said that with the reports I was able to get, it was saying that I was having a mental health crisis, and it wasn't my report. So
Okay,
what are you reporting? That what are you stating that I'm reporting today?
I'm stating your CTWs, the concern that they're being issued in malice. Okay, the concern that they're being issued in an attempt to keep you from achieving or receiving food and other supplies that you need for sustainable in order to sustain yourself. Okay, I'm going to be reporting that you have reported to me that you have made countless attempts, approximately 400 different attempts, to report malpractice within law enforcement or abuse of power within law enforcement, that you feel your reports aren't being appropriately investigated. Okay, I'm also going to include your statements that you made regarding the hit and runs. I'm going to include your statements you made regarding your what you had mentioned about the bus, how you believe it to be the fault of investigators that those different events have occurred, and that's going to be in my report. Okay, the things that you have reported to me.
Okay, so what is your responsibility if you have evidence that they haven't taken investigated 400 and something times and they choose to commit a crime like all the other reports and not investigate this? What would be your responsibility? Will you being aware of that? Wouldn't it be criminal if you let me sit in that like all the other police did?
It would. I'm sorry, I'm not following your question.
So if you're aware that there's a history of me being denied investigation and you let me sit and marinate in that and don't report that, is that criminal if they don't investigate your report? If police repeatedly slander investigators and then blame it on investigators that my reports aren't being investigated, is it a crime on their part?
I wouldn't necessarily say that it's a crime.
400
However,
times, what would be as law enforcement, what would you perceive that's 400 and something times all those serious events not being
if
investigated, what
if
could you
I
perceive that it would
so
be?
I'm gonna explain that to you, okay? So if I took some overt act to make sure that your report were either tampered with, or if you gave me this report or you made a report to me and I took some sort of overt act to ensure that that investigation wasn't taking place, right? If I went out of my way to make sure that the police didn't
Well,
help you.
here's the thing. Let's go ahead and just shut that down. How about, since you're aware and it's your responsibility to not get a charge, that police are indeed sabotaging investigation, that you make sure that this gets investigated so you don't have to suffer consequences for it not being investigated? Well, how about we do it that way? If you're aware that 400 and something times the police department has committed crimes and deprived me of investigation and corruption, let's make sure that that is investigated. That way you won't have to be suffer any accountability for doing the same thing. Is that a better way to phrase it?
I like I told you already, Ms. Clark. I'm doing everything that is within my
I'm
power.
just saying, let's go on definitives that this will be investigated to not break the law. Let's not say I'll try, maybe, perhaps. Let's say that I will put this through to investigation. That way you don't get a charge.
Okay, Ms. Clark, I can make that statement to you all day long, but I'm not here to lie to you. I'm not here to give you a definitive that I cannot act on. Okay, that's not I'm not
Well,
trying to
by you not
disrespect.
doing it, it's a crime. So I don't know how many uploads will equal an arrest. I don't know why you would pathologically lie and pretend like the police department not investigating 400 and some times and playing mind games to waste my time. I told YouTube that you guys do that. Pretend like you're doing law enforcement to waste my day and knowing darn well I'll never see it. And then want to scam on YouTube that we indeed are trying to help, but I don't know if they'll investigate a hit and run of a child. I don't know. I don't know if they'll investigate a bus driver trying to kill you. We can't. I don't know if they'll call on that. I don't know if they'll do anything about you being targeted and 30 something false arrests. We don't know. It's up in the air. We don't know if they'll investigate attacks, hit and runs, robberies, all the serious events. We don't know kidnapping. We don't know if they'll investigate.
Ms. Clark, like I said, I am doing everything within my power to.
I don't think that if you were doing things within your power, then it would be investigated. But I don't know if you're trying to convince yourself that YouTube. But I mean, I don't know how many patterns will equal an arrest. Right now, I have a device that I can't use. It's happened years. Several devices I can barely use, and then Ortez chose to cover for it and slander me. I guess I don't know how long I'm gonna have here. I don't know if you're gonna bust through the door now, take my freedom. I'm scared to go out because no one has put you under control. You may scam for the false arrest. My abuser said you're going to do it. He already said that in Austin, and a couple days later, I went to jail at church for reporting death threats. So I'm not protected against you guys. I'm not safe. I don't know a lot of people that are afraid that the police department's going to come from nowhere, knock on the door, bust down the door, assault them, murder them, or take them to jail and get away with it. And then you have to sit and marinate. Is the police going to kill me today? And everyone in my environment cover for it. That's how I think. Will they lose it today? In making these calls, I don't know. In my mind, I have to sit and marinate. Is the police department coming today? Are they gonna not? Well, when is going to be my next false arrest? That's my life.
Well, as far as I'm concerned right now, Ms. Clark, you've got nothing on your name. Okay, there's no reason for us to come
So
and
you've done
arrest
it
you.
30 other times. I'm not protected against you guys. You're denying law enforcement. The best predictor of future behavior is past behavior. There is